Dear friends, it's such a pleasure to welcome you to the Naija Landlord Summit 2025.
Researchers and from professionals or stakeholders, it has been revealed that we have 20 million housing deficits. What 20 million housing deficit means, forget about that big grammar deficit, is that 20 million people are homeless. That's what it means.
Can you people throw more light on the NHF?
NHF has not achieved its objective. If funding is a problem for Federal Mortgage Bank, and they are still working on getting more funding if it is possible. But for now, while that is going on, government says let's look for other alternatives.
You can't just pay someone who just want to take from where he did not plant. So you need to make that clear. Please, this money that we are paying, show us like a mandate showing that the federal government has given you the mandate to manage these properties. Very, very important. The second one you asked,
what are my chances of making money in oil and gas? The chances in real estate is higher. So I chose the one with the higher chances.
Real estate investment. Oh, it's sweet. There's money in real estate. Oh, they are just there doing what? Waving their hands. Why opportunities is doing what? Slipping through their hands.
The law that gave birth to Lacera is giving government official the power to go and hawk licensing around Lagos.
Those of us who are not renters that you just came, I can tell you that you can as well earn money while you're working in your office or doing whatever you are doing as your profession.
If you're a realtor here and you're a developer, it's very, very important because you see, when you go to the market will speak back to you.
You know, a lot of these are young people. They want to invest, but they want to do it online. They don't want all this structured system that we have. And in the US, in the UK, people have pulled millions and millions of dollars through crowdfunding. Every speaker here has given us assurance from experience how profitable real estate could be. So we shouldn't have any doubt in our mind. This is the business we should be in. But the key thing is, how then do we go about it correctly? Let me just share my own I will share two experiences, and then I will drive the issue of mortgage as if a form of financing for real estate. And then I will close. We don't have a lot of time, so 10-15 minutes, I promise you, I will finish. So many years ago, I used to work for Chartered Bank, and in 2005, I left the bank for consulting. And I was paid, I remember, see how my check that I was paid, my draft, 525,000 naira or so. That was my terminal benefit in banking. And just about that time, my dad just called me. My dad stays in Ibadan, he's still alive and well, 96. Dad called me and said, my church is organizing some large chunk of land somewhere in 1 year. Those of us who know Ibadan. He said, come and buy it if you have the opportunity. That was just about the week I collected my draft. I said, this is a good opportunity. So I went there. I was able to buy 2 acres of land. That's about 12 plots. That time, about less than 5, I collected, so I took some of the money to enjoy myself out of the 525,000. So I spent less than 500,000 on that property, on the land. As we speak today, the last time I checked about 2 years ago, 1 plot is going for about 3,000 naira. 3 million naira, sorry. It's very close to that terminal, the train station in 1 year. Property value has appreciated. At some point, I thought I lost my money because I wasn't going there. But look at the benefit that real estate can give us. The second one, and I'm going to close with that, I'm talking about mortgages for financing. When we just got married, just about those period too, my wife would tell me we should go and buy a house. What are you talking about? Even though I was working in the bank, I was working in the Chartered Bank, she was working in multinational. The combined income of the two of us maybe a bit over 100,000 naira. I was earning 60-something thousand, she was earning something similar. A typical LSBC house at that time was about 5.5 million, 6 million. So I was asking, do the calculation now. If we say we want to buy, how long will we save to be able to buy a house? I'm telling you, she was the one that pushed. She kept on talking about it. After some time, she said, let's think about it. Is it possible? Now we went to get a mortgage. UBA gave us a mortgage because of our own office. They have a relationship with their company, all of them had accounts with UBA, and so they gave them social privilege. Helped us with the mortgage. That was the same. That was what made me to be able to acquire a home. And we got that house. Today, that's a property of 5-point-something million naira. Today, will not be less than 60-70 million naira. It's an LSD estate project. What am I saying? Look, we need to take the right decisions to be able to make our financial future for ourselves. And one of the things we can do is in the area of mortgages. I know we've been talking about it. A lot of people will be afraid, just like I was afraid. Where will I get the money? Land now today, they will say 25 million naira, 2 million naira, and you are looking at your pocket and your income. What can I do? So for those of us who have regular income, who are earning income, we have our wife, think about taking a mortgage. Those opportunities are here in Nigeria today, like never before. I've never seen a time where we have various products supported by government that we have in Nigeria today. So that is the basis of my own talking. I'm talking about the financial aspect of real estate, especially with mortgages. Please, next slide. Let's look at the slides quickly so that I can round up on that. So new pathways to home ownership. What we used to have before. Next slide, please. So we are going to talk about the current state of home ownership in Nigeria. We are familiar with this very briefly. Challenges facing the mortgage industry, which is making it difficult for a lot of people to have that access. Traditional pathways of owning homes, government reforms, and thankfully the keynote speaker has done a good job talking a lot about that, and Madam. Government reforms, creative real estate funding, and then policy recommendations to government. But more importantly, what should those of us in this room do to secure our own future? Next slide, please. So, what's the current state of home ownership in Nigeria? It's a difficult situation for us. Housing deficit. ESB, Mustafa said 20 million. We are not too sure of the figure. That's one of the problems. But it has been put at about 28 million housing deficit, requiring up to 21 trillion naira to fill. So there is a huge gap. Those of us in this business, we know when there is a lot of demand and there is no supply, that is the kind of business we want to be in. So we are in the right business for those of us in real estate. There is huge demand, no adequate supply. So there will always be demand. That's why the price will continue to go up. Large informal housing market. Yes, we have a lot of informal situations. People are just building, and those are the things creating problem for us. And government, demolishing houses. Limited access to mortgage finance, that's a big problem. Even for the financing that is available, a lot of people don't have access. We need to expand that access in Nigeria. Low mortgage penetration, low ratio of mortgage loan to GDP in terms of measuring mortgage penetration, and then a lot of constraints, high interest rates, weak titles. Madam just spoke a lot about that. Short-term funding. So we need to also have long-term funding. These are the challenges we have, which the government is gradually trying to solve. Next slide, please. So look at the snapshot. How are we doing compared to some of our peers, other countries, even in Africa? I'm not even talking about countries outside Africa. In terms of mortgage loans to GDP ratio, we are doing very poorly. Nigeria 0.07%. So that's less than 1% of mortgages to the size of our GDP. Kenya is doing 1.9. They are not doing too well too, but they are still far better than us. Botswana is doing 6.12, Brazil 10%. South Africa is doing 18.8% mortgages to GDP. That's a developed mortgage market. Malaysia is doing 44.4%. Very highly developed mortgage market. These are countries that were at the same level with us. Malaysians were the people who came to take palm oil from us the other day, and they have grown their economy. Look at this. We are doing really, really badly in terms of giving Nigerians opportunity to get mortgages to be able to have homes of their own. Next slide, please. We have a chart there that I just want to show that chart. You can see that we don't even have the color for Nigeria is not even showing. That is to tell you how poorly we are performing. And so one country is doing 44%. Malaysia is not better than Nigeria in most respect. We even have bigger opportunities. But this is the situation we have found ourselves. Government needs to do a lot more, and they are actually trying. And those are the things we talk about. Next slide, please. So what are the challenges? High interest rates. When MPR is at 23%, and they will still put their own markup, at the end of the day, there are mortgages of 27%, 30%. How many people can afford that? Stringent eligibility criteria is getting better. Before, you need to bring all kind of things before you can get mortgage. Limited access to credit information. Now we have credit bureaus. So we are developing the defense segment where we have these challenges. High default risk. Of course, when you have all those challenges, there will be default problems. Somebody is paying 30% interest. After 2 or 3 years, he will get tired. He will not be able to pay again. And when there is default, poor legal system to be able to collect your money back. So you will be in the court for 5. People are in court for 5 years, 10 years for mortgage. They've lost everything. Now, high construction cost is also a problem, making it unaffordable for a lot of people. But like I said, government is trying to address some of these challenges. Next slide, please. Now we'll see some of the things government is doing. Now, traditionally, because of those challenges, what people have done is to find their way around to get a house of their own. How? Cooperative societies. People will do cooperative, save money. Incremental building. I've also done that before. There was probably when we completed about 5 years ago. It took us close to 8 years. So first we were able to buy land. We waited, gather money together, go and do foundation. Gather money together after another 1 year until before we were able to finish up to 8 years. That's a long time. We need a system that will help people to be able to quickly be able to get a place to stay. Next, please. So there are reforms, and some of these reforms, some of them have worked, some of them have not worked enough. But let's just mention some of these reforms which we need to further improve upon. The establishment of primary mortgage banks in Nigeria became a very important point because years back you only had commercial banks. Commercial banks will only finance what will give them money, quick money, trading and things like that. I used to work in the commercial bank. But with primary mortgage bank, their focus, their primary business is to create mortgages for people. That's a strong advantage. So we have several mortgage banks now doing well, and their primary business is to give people funding for mortgages. That's a very important one. Then we have the NMRC to create a secondary market for mortgages, meaning that they are also enhancing the availability of funds in that industry. NMRC will buy off mortgages from mortgage banks and return back funds for them to create another set of mortgages. So the cycle can continue. So NMRC was created, has been doing well, but again, interest rate is one of the challenges NMRC is facing. So we have uniform underwriting standard to ensure that across the industry there is uniformity in underwriting standard. That was extended to self-employed individuals. And then we are developing the model mortgage and foreclosure law, meaning that it will enhance the ability to take the property, for instance, when people default. This is still one of the problems. We have not been able to solve that problem. Only a few states have adopted this, and we need it to be adopted across the country. So reforms are going on along this respect as well. Next slide. Reform to primary mortgage banks. There's revised guidelines to enhance the operation of mortgage bank. That is still ongoing as we speak. Digitization of various infrastructures. Madam mentioned a lot of that. National Mortgage Registry. We need to move to the point where we can digitalize our documents for land registry. I used to be in the capital market for a long time, and we did that in the capital market. Remember years back, we used to carry certificates of shares before. I don't know whether anybody has any. I don't have any share certificate. I can't even remember ever seeing one in the same time. Because now, these are now in digital depository. You just go to CSCS, all of those things have been put in, and that can be done. So if you want to know whether I have shares, just go check my name. You see CSCS. They will give you a list of all the shares I want. I can sell on my phone. But why can't we do that with mortgage? That's where we should get to. Where all these documents, title documents, can be digitalized, and it's been done in other parts of the world. But recent reforms, and this is where I will talk a bit more, these are current opportunities that we need to take advantage of. Family-owned funds is a government. How many of us have heard of family-owned funds before? Wow, very few. So there's a government agency, family-owned funds. You can go to their website. They can give you mortgages within 1 to 2 weeks. I'm telling you, if you qualify. How do they do it? They get funding from African Development Bank, very cheap rate, maybe at 7-8%. And then guys, they use what we call blended finance option. So they will blend the funds of the mortgage bank, which is higher in terms of interest rate because of the environment in Nigeria. But by the time they blend it, the average rate comes to something like 12%, 13%, which is still quite affordable, far, far better than even the MPR. So family-owned funds are an opportunity, and they are deploying a lot. A lot of people have gotten their homes from family-owned funds. That opportunity is right here in Nigeria today. You now have access to 25% of your RSA contribution to finance mortgages. So all of us working who have RSA accounts with the PFAs, there is a guideline that allows you to have access to 25% of your RSA funding. So you can use that as part of equity contribution to get a mortgage. Equity has always been one of the challenges. A lot of people don't have the equity to start. You want to buy a 50 million naira house, you need to bring 10% equity. Even the 5 million is a problem to a lot of people. 30 million house, you need 3 million to bring down immediately. That used to be a problem. But now, if you have money in your RSA account, you can access up to 25% of that. That reduces the burden on the equity contribution. Then the Murphy Real Estate Investment Fund, that is even the in thing in town now, because MREF comes at an interest rate of 9.75% as I speak today. And you know, there's a lot of activity in the mortgage sector because of that. So if you have income, yourself and your wife, you can come together, apply for MREF. But just know that this opportunity is there and you should take advantage of it. Renewed Hope Housing, the keynote speaker talked about that. The plan of the government is also support the supply side, meaning that we can have 1,000 housing units in every state. That's still quite a lot. If you can get that, and it is affordable and cheap, because affordability is also a problem. Availability of the supply of housing stock is a big problem across the country. If we can solve all of these problems, then we can gradually start reducing the challenge that we have. Next slide, please. So there are so many creative solutions that we will keep on using, and I believe as we grow, we keep on improving on that. Securitization, we need to still go back to the capital market at the end of the day. As we grow this industry, ultimately we need to return to the stock market. The stock market can supply us the amount of funding we need to fund housing in the long term. We ultimately need to go back to the stock market. But all the things we are doing now will help us ultimately to be able to transit to that level. REITs, they are also stock market instruments. Companies that invest in real estate, and then you can buy shares in those REITs. We already have a couple of REITs on the Nigerian exchange, for instance. Crowdfunding, these are strategies that are new all over the world now. Crowdfunding is a situation where a large number of people typically create funding through online platforms. It's popular now in some of the developed countries. You know, a lot of these are young people. They want to invest, but they want to do it online. They don't want all this structured system that we have. And in the US, in the UK, people have pulled millions and millions of dollars through crowdfunding. And we have that opportunity in Nigeria. We have a population of over 200 million, 230 million. If just 1 million people pull 10 million together, 10,000 together, see how much you can raise. So these are creative opportunities that we need to explore to be able to raise the kind of funding we need to finance mortgages. Next slide, please. So I'm rounding off now. So employer-assisted housing, pay-as-you-build scheme, payroll-based system, these are some of the schemes that our mortgage banks are also trying to explore to make it easier for people to have access to mortgages. Next slide, please. So blended and impact finance model, I talk about the public-private blended model. That's what family-owned fund is using. Diaspora bond also. We are trying to bring more Nigerians to invest in Nigeria. You know, Nigeria is one of the countries that have some of the largest remittances for diaspora people. We have a lot of Nigerians in the UK, in the US, and they are doing very well there. So we are creating diaspora bond for Nigerians to invest in our country through those bonds. And those funds can be used to finance mortgages. DFI-backed long-term funding, that's what IFCADB, family-owned funds, is already using that. So we have various creative models. The only problem is that we have not scaled them to the level at which it is impacting a large number of Nigerians. We've started on it. We need to keep on growing it, and so that we can also do more for our citizens in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So what are the challenges? And all the things I've talked about are beautiful, but there are still challenges and risks, and government needs to be aware of this. We have problem with inflation, FX volatility. When you are talking about finance, when there is inflation, the cost of fund goes up. Nobody will give you money. When there is a place where you can put your money at 20%, why will you put it at 8 or 9%? And that's why we need to ensure that we have a stable macroeconomic environment and FX regime. Land title and legal inefficiency, key issue that Madam has talked about a lot. It's one of the biggest problems that we have. We need to solve it. And more importantly, we need to be knowledgeable. I was just telling her, I have to get her book on that titling. And I think everybody here should get that book. Because people have lost money. People have lost a lot because of that. The simple knowledge, and you can get it from a book. So please, we need to educate ourselves. I say I will recommend it to my people in the mortgage banking sector that every staff in the legal department must have a copy of that book. Let them understand it, know it, and be able to use it. Developer capacity and inclusion gap. We have a lot of gap with developers as well. So I'm happy that you are working on trying to certify developers and all of that. We have a lot of charlatans in the industry. We have a lot of people who don't have the capacity. So we need to keep on building capacity on the supply side. I've talked about the demand side, and now we are addressing that. But if we don't also address the supply side, we will continue to run with the problem. So we need to also work with the supply side of that business. Next slide, please. I think that's the last. Actionable recommendation. So I will recommend our policymakers, I'm not sure they are here today. Please, we need to develop and maintain reliable land and property registry. This is what will bring confidence to the market. If you go to Lagos State or any secretariat and you are not too sure that what you are even getting is the correct information, there is a loss of confidence, and we need to address that. Then we need to give incentive, tax relief, things like that, to incentivize people to invest more in real estate. For lenders, we need to make it easier for people to get mortgages. Payroll-based mortgages, there are other creative models to look at. Give people mortgages based on the income they earn. You charge them more as they earn more, as they go higher, so that more people can have those opportunities. We need partnership, developers, DFI partnership. There are development institutions across the world, the ADBs, IFCs, who have the funding and they are ready to support us. We need to support our developers so that they can also do more using relatively cheaper funds to do that. And for investors, blended finance, guarantees, and that is what has happened with MREF. MREF is a public-private partnership. The federal government is investing through the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, but there are private investors also involved. But they have that confidence because government is involved, and it's a blended finance, and there is guarantee from the government. So the PFAs and insurance companies and all of that, institutional investors are part of it because they know that they have confidence in the structure. So these are things that we need to do to ensure that more Nigerians have access to mortgages. I think the last slide should be there. So next step and closing, I say in the short time, we need to scale mortgage products in Nigeria. What we still have today is like a drop in the ocean. Just like the ESV Mustafa said. Let's even say you create 6,000 homes now for people. We are talking about 6,000 people. Do you know the population of Nigeria? We have a long way to go. But we need to scale and create opportunity for this product. In the medium term, deepen the secondary market, which is what is going on. We are trying to do that in the mortgage sector. And then ultimately we have an integrated home ownership growth situation, whereby we are building an ecosystem. From the supply side, there is adequate supply. From the demand side, we are giving enough funding for those who need money for mortgages. And there's a coordinated approach to ensure that we resolve the housing problem in Nigeria. This is something we can do, but we need to be focused. Government need to be focused. Public-private partnership has to be strong so that we can achieve the objective that we have for ourselves. Thank you very much. This is where I will be ending it.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we should do better. He has really done well.